And we're back with the Screen Team on today's Talk 930 KWOC. We are reviewing the Lord of the Rings trilogy. We've taken care of Fellowship, we've taken care of Two Towers, and we have the mighty task to review a 3.5-hour movie in less than 10 minutes. It's called Return of the King. This particular film won the best Oscar the year it came out. And Laura, is this your favorite out of the series?
Yes, of the three, this one's my favorite.
This one is your favorite. And basically, it's a continuation of Frodo and Sam trying to put the ring into Mount Doom and destroy all evil forever. You've got a lot of different side stories going on in this particular film. You've got, of course, the evil forces trying to take over. They struck out with Rohan, so they're going to try to take over another section of the human race called Gondor.
Yes, Gondor.
And you also have another side section story where you've got Aragorn trying to reclaim the throne and return as the king of all mankind.
Yeah, he's basically, he's reticent about it. He doesn't want to be, his struggle throughout all three of these movies is he doesn't want to be like his heirs before him. Like, they were all corrupted by the power that they were given, and he doesn't want to be that. And, they try to, because he never shows that every time he comes to this decision, like in the first movie where he tells Frodo to leave, and he would take the ring. He could have taken it from him and done whatever, but he doesn't. He tells him, take it and go, and he proves himself in every single movie, and the most in this one, because from the first movie, when the sword that cut the ring from the hand of Sauron was shattered, and the elves kept the pieces of it, and there was a prophecy that said that the sword would be remade, that the king of Gondor could wield that sword.
Yeah.
Well, so Elrond remakes the sword, brings it to Aragorn. He says, it's time, because there's somebody that I love, who is Éowyn, the elf princess that Aragorn is in love with. And so Elrond says, I come on behalf of someone that I love. She's going to die if you don't defeat this crap. So get off your butt, quit playing the ranger, throw off the ranger, and become who you were meant to be, is what he tells him. So he takes the sword, and he tells him, you have to go by the Dimbalt Road, which is it's basically a canyon full of dead ghosts. And they were cursed by the heir that had the sword originally, because they did not come to his aid when he needed them. So, but only the person that can wield that sword can command their allegiance. So he goes with Legolas and Gimli, and they go with him, and he goes and he commands the army of the dead, and then he makes them go with him to help in this huge final battle that is against all of the forces of Sauron, basically. And they all meet together at Gondor. That's where it all comes to a head.
I've got two critiques of this particular film. I really, really like the film a lot. Mm-hmm. It's probably my second favorite out of the trilogy. But my two critiques are this. The storyline, there's a storyline with Boromir and Faramir's father.
Yes.
He's like the steward of Gondor.
Yes.
Kind of like the guy in charge. And he just seems off his rocker, and you don't really know.
He's a caretaker. He has no power except for, he's basically, he's like an interim, because there is no heir available at that time. Like, they don't have an heir that is living that they know of that can take the throne.
Yeah.
So
he's obviously distraught over the loss of his son Boromir, but he doesn't really care 2 cents about his other son Faramir, so much so that he almost puts him to his death. And when he thinks that he is dead, he's going to, give him like this big Viking kind of, goodbye. And they're telling him, like, no, he's not dead. And he's like, I'm not listening to you. I don't care.
Yes.
That part was a little confusing to me. So that's one minor critique I have of this film. The second critique I have is that Peter Jackson, you could obviously tell, did not want to end this film.
No,
he was like, all right, let's say goodbye again to Frodo and Sam. Let's put it in slow motion.
Yes.
All right, let's do it again.
Yeah. Let's come back and because they win. I mean, obviously, it's not a spoiler. It's a fairy tale. Good is always gonna conquer evil in a fairy tale. But I mean, they win the battle, and they make it out of Mount Doom. They get rescued by the eagles, and they leave. And so everything's, and you see their reunion in Rivendell, and Frodo heals, and Sam is fine, and everyone lives, and they're all. And you're like, oh, yay. And then
it just doesn't stop.
And then they send him back home to the Shire. And then Sam and Frodo, like, Sam, since he's all brave now, he goes and marries the love of his life and moves on with his life. But Frodo can't because the ring, the weight that he carried, it never left him. I mean, he got rid of it and he did what he set out to do. But he says in the end, he said, we set out to save the Shire and we did save it, but it's not saved for me because he's got too much of that still in him. So again, Frodo and Sam are parted because Frodo leaves with Bilbo, with the elves, to leave because he just doesn't have a peace where he was there before.
Right.
And I mean, the end draws out a lot. Like when I was at the theater, I was like, I've got to go to the bathroom now. To finish this movie.
You know, I've got the regular version on DVD, and it's like 320, 330 almost. But the extended version, I think, is almost 4 hours long.
Yeah, it is. It's like 355 or something like that. It's long.
Yeah. It's crazy long. We're almost here, wrapping up our end of things with the Lord of the Rings trilogy. I have one question. How come from the very beginning, or at least when they got to Rivendell, how come Gandalf didn't just call the Eagles? They all ride the Eagles to Mount Doom, put the ring in the thing, take the Eagles, go back to Rivendell. Nobody dies. Everything is awesome.
Well, even if he had done that, they're still the Wraiths, the Ring Wraiths. They
wouldn't have caught the Eagles, man.
They fight them in the fights with them. Yeah, it is.
Man, this movie could have been done like in 20 minutes.
Yeah, but that wasn't how Tolkien wrote it.
Before you go, I want to get your ratings on these particular films. Out of 5 stars, what do you rate Fellowship?
4.5.
4.5?
Yeah.
I rate it actually 5 out of 5. What do you do for Two Towers?
It was a 4, just because, like I said, it was the middle. It just felt a little bit crammed at the beginning and at the end. So, and I guess part of it also is because I wanted to know what was going to happen, and I had to wait to find out what happened.
Yeah.
So that just kind of made it my least favorite in the middle.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. 4 out of 5 stars on that one. Return of the King, what do you got?
It was 5 for me because you get to all of these relationships that have formed all throughout all 3 movies. They actually end. I mean, you get a conclusion for just about for everything. You know, it doesn't leave any cliffhangers. It does draw it out for a while, but at least you find out. The only thing that bothered me was, like, you don't find out what happens with Faramir and Éowyn, like in the books and in the books and in the extended cut on Return of the King. They form a relationship because they're both injured in battle very badly and all these kind of things, and they form a relationship when they're healing. But like, so you don't really know what happens with that. But everything else kind of comes to a conclusion, and you actually know, so you don't have to just go, oh, is there going to be another one? Well, there can't be, because that's the 3rd book, and they were written 100 years ago. Yeah. You know, so.
If this movie was about 30 minutes shorter, I would have given it a 5, but I'm giving it a 4.5.
Yeah.
So, all right, Laura, thank you for being on the show, because if I had to do this, I would have butchered it royally. So thank you for your expertise, and thank you for talking about the Lord of the Rings trilogy with us and with the listeners. We're not done yet. We've got more reviews coming up after the break. We're going to be joined by Toby and Tonica, and we're talking about time travel love stories. We're going to start things up with Kate and Leopold. We're going to be doing the film The Lake House with Sandra Bullock and Keanu Reeves, and we're going to finish up with Somewhere in Time with Christopher Reeves and Jane Seymour. That's coming up next. Laura, thank you once again.
Yep,
more
no
Screen Team coming your way next on KWOC.